Hi guys, welcome back to the first episode of the Q2FY26 series. And in the first episode, we're going to talk about a company that is beating all odds. We're going to be talking about Thyrocare Technologies. Now, why am I telling it is beating all odds? Is because when we started this financial year, when we started this FY25-26 financial year, when in Q4 of FY25, when the management had given its result and con call, they had a very great quarter in Q4 FY25. And they told at that time, like, aage jaake, I understand, in Q4 of FY25, we had a really great quarter and everything. But for the upcoming year, for the rest of the year, do not expect this. Expect, like reduce your expectation and, expect mid-teens kind of revenue growth. That is what they guided for, right? For the entire year of FY25-26. This, in spite of doing, like I told you, this in spite of doing in the last Q4 FY25, they did around 22% kind of growth. Okay. So obviously, when you do 22% and then you're guiding for a mid-teens growth, mid-teens का मतलब क्या है? Somewhere between 16 to 18%, somewhere in that range is your mid-teens, right? And you tell that, but after that, like if you see the Q1 FY26, they again posted a very good set of numbers, 23% kind of growth, and now we are in Q2 FY26. It is the second quarter, where they have been posting great set of numbers. Okay, अगर आप Q2 FY26 का देखते हो, right? If you look at the sales is up by 22%. और अगर आप PAT देखते हो, immense operating leverage मिला, PAT is up by 80%. A reason why they're getting this much amount of operating leverage is, if you look at Thyrocare का model, they work mostly on the franchisee. Like, rather than having their own diagnostic center, they feel comfortable, like opening as many franchisees as they can, which is quite opposite to the another company called as Vijaya Diagnostic, which has its own diagnostic center. Now, every year they're adding roughly somewhere between 900 to 1000 franchisees, in that range. So what is happening, in after a year, these significantly contribute in the upcoming year, right? And यहाँ पे उनका, since you're doing franchise, right, आपका expenses भी उतना ज़्यादा नहीं है, right? So ultimately, this is what is giving this huge operating leverage. Other than that, if you go to the other metrics that is there, if you look at the volume growth, right, यहाँ पे अगर आप volume growth देखते हो, which is both आपका, test, आप कितना test you're performing compared to last year. Like, last year you might have performed 1000, this year आपने कितना test या कितना, lab का test किया है. If you look at that, even that is up by 21%. So ये पूरा 22% का अगर आप देखते हो, which is sales, majority, literally 95% and more has been coming from where? पूरा का पूरा volume growth का खेल है, ठीक है? Other than that, if you see the revenue per test, right, मतलब अगर this revenue per test is a little bit, it is a combination of value growth, but value growth यहाँ पे in the sense like, either you could have hiked up the prices for the test, like maybe, a blood test was earlier 200 rupees and now it is like 220 rupees now. Either that, or it could also be, that a better product mix. Maybe earlier people were getting, hardly one or two tests done. Maybe they were getting only tests for dengue. Now people are probably getting, an entire package, right? Because think about it, अगर आप एक टेस्ट कर रहे हो, probably it will cost you somewhere between 200 या 2000 rupees. But अगर आप एक bundle लेते हो, right, शायद वो 4000 5000 भी हो सकता है. So this revenue per test that is there, it is a good combination of both आपका price hike and आपका, probably product mix change also. And this is up by 2%, hardly 2%. और कितना number of test कितना increase हुआ? 21% से. So you understand over here, right? The पूरा का पूरा यह sales growth है, it has come purely from volume growth, which is a good thing, by the way, because think about it, right? You cannot increase the price of the test. There will always be a ceiling over here, because when you see, nowadays, if you look at a consumer, you have plethora of options, right? मतलब अगर आप थायरोकेयर नहीं चूज करते हो, शायद आप ऑरेंज लैब चूज करो, शायद आप अपोलो चूज करो. there is no like options का कमी नहीं है. So वहाँ पे थोड़ा सीलिंग रहता है in terms of, like how much you can increase in terms of price. So volume growth का खेल बहुत is important, right? So that also they have done really well. So पूरा अगर आप देखते हो, excellent set of numbers. उनका अगर आप business में भी देखते हो ना, there are two types of tests they do. One is pathology test and the other one is your radiology. Radiology का अगर आप देखते हो, it is up by 3%. Last time if you see, radiology का test was up by 6%. That is Q1 on Q1. We need to see why यहाँ पे. Probably one thing you need to check in con call is radiology, why it didn't grow as fast as it grew in Q1. Pathology का revenue अगर आप देखते हो, that is up by 24%. Now इसका अगर मैं I probably should have done this video on Google Meet so I could show you the balance sheet and cash flows. But even if you look at the balance sheet and cash flows, very clean, very very nice balance sheet, because अगर आप इसका current ratio देखते हो, current ratio is at a stunning 2.6. अगर आप quick ratio देखते हो, quick ratio is also at 2.3. Very important to see quick ratio, because when things go wrong, you can't sell the inventories and and liquidate your inventory and pay up your pay your vendors and all, right? So always check for quick ratio also. And if you guys want to understand how to look at the financial statements, get the investment checklist workshop. We've covered everything over there in detail. अगर आप इसका net CFO भी देखते हो ना, net CFO is also has increased from 89 crore से last year to 127 crore. So overall very clean balance sheet. यहाँ पे liability कुछ भी नहीं है, there is no debt or of any sort. I mean, even if it is there, it is quite insignificant. Mostly it is lease liability only, which is given. I mean, you're putting up so many diagnostic center, you need to have you need to have a place. And another reason I believe इनका ये in debt में इतना कुछ नहीं है, because like I told you, इनका more and more push towards the B2C front is through franchise. And franchise अगर कर रहे हैं तो it is that franchisee का headache ना, to put up that the entire space. So that is another thing. So overall receivables का भी कोई issue नहीं है, because think about it, right? You are going to pay upfront for any test. अगर आप pay नहीं करते हो, then आपका test report नहीं मिलता है, right? So यहाँ पे it is a credit, it is an upfront credit model also. So यहाँ पे receivable का भी कोई question ही नहीं आता, right? It is not a B2B business, जहाँ पे आप पहले सर्विस दो, उसके बाद पेमेंट आते, उल्टा रहता है, आप पहले पेमेंट करना पड़ता है कंज्यूमर को, उसके बाद ही आपको सर्विस मिलता है. सो यहाँ पर भी वो रिसीवेबल का भी क्वेश्चन नहीं आता. सो ओवरऑल very fabulous set of numbers. The only thing over here जो थोड़ा शायद खटकता है is probably if you look at the PAT, right? If you look in the last in the क्या बोलते हैं in H1 they have done I think roughly around 45 plus I think around 40 around 80 crore का PAT उन्होंने किया है. Assuming कि like यहाँ पे obviously H2 is greater than H1, Q2 and Q3 is Q2 and Q4 are best quarters for diagnostic centers, right? And if you look at it that way, assuming कि like शायद 200 करोड़ का पैट करता है इस साल, maybe conservatively I can do an estimation or an assumption, again assumption, because we do not know how much their PAT or their EPS growth will be. So assuming कि like on a conservative basis अगर ये 150 करोड़ करता है, and maybe on a very bullish अगर मैं रहूँ 200 करोड़ करता है, then the 1 year forward P lies somewhere between 44 to 32 to 44 in that range. 150 से 200 करोड़ का अगर मैं रेंज लेती हूँ पैट का, it comes somewhat in this range. So obviously ना, जितना इसका ये EPS को जितना तेजी से बढ़ाएगा, उतना इसका valuation cheaper होता रहेगा. But other than the valuation, what I also want to talk is about the race. अगर आप इसका पूरा diagnostic race देखते हो, if you remember in Q1 we had Vijay Diagnostic, Dr. Lal and Metropolis. This Thyrocare Technologies was leading the race among all the four, right? And I think probably even in Q2 also ये शायद it will continue to lead the race. The only competition Thyrocare has right now is not Dr. Lal, not Metropolis, not even that Vijay Diagnostic Center. I mean probably Vijay Diagnostic Center too, because उनका 2 hub है. Vijay Diagnostic Center का 2 hubs are going to go live in Bangalore and in Calcutta. So that is an interesting play to look at. But other than that, another one company in the diagnostic sector is Chandan Healthcare, जो मैंने I think last week मैंने उसका cover किया था. It is a very small cap. वो इसको टक्कर दे सकता है, because उसका शायद growth rate it can be around 25%, शायद 25 या 30% का बीच में हो सकता है, and उसका valuation भी कम है, base भी छोटा है. So that is the only thing, right? If Chandan has to also get the Thyrocare का valuation, it has to grow faster than Thyrocare. So उसको हमें देखना पड़ेगा, like how does Chandan do. But overall great set of numbers by Thyrocare. I think this is one of the companies I believe in Q2FY26 that has really really shocked, because nobody was expecting this. मतलब जैसे मैंने बोला beginning of the video में, guided for a mid-teens and now we are doing above mid-teens. So that is the thing. Con call, I don't think anything special will be there, but anyways we'll catch up with the con call and I will do a complete video doing a P2P of all the 4 to 5 diagnostic centers that are there. इसके अलावा there is another company that you can check, that is Krishana Foscam something. I can't remember the name. ये भी एक company है which is, let me just search it. हाँ, आई थिंक आई डोंट नो इफ यू प्रोनाउंस इट एज कृष्णा या कृषाना, कृषाना फॉस्केम बोल के आप इस कंपनी को भी चेक कर सकते हो, जिसका Q2FY26, आई डोंट नो हैव आई बीन टेलिंग FY25, आई एम नॉट श्योर, बट Q2FY26 has been very good. ये एक I am not going to go into this model in depth like I told in my previous video. There are certain models which I do not understand and I'm okay letting go of the opportunities. Like अगर मैं कृषाना का मैं बात करूँ, I do not know कि like ये exactly क्या करते हैं. Like I understand, read and I can tell you कि like अरे ये सल्फर बनाता है and everything. मतलब imagine in your school, right? When you are in a school, आप एक chapter पढ़ते हो and there is a direct question. You can answer the direct question. But अगर उसको घुमा फिरा के अगर आपको कोई आपका टीचर ने आपको वो question पूछा, then you won't be able to answer, right? That is literally my problem with all these companies such as Krishana or Foschem. आप इसको check कर सकते हो. इसका sales growth बढ़ रहा है, operating leverage मिल रहा है, demand बहुत अच्छा है, केपेक्स भी कर रहा है, उसका वो सल्फर के लिए एक एडिशनल कैपेसिटी डाल रहा है एंड एवरीथिंग. सो कंपनी इज डूइंग एवरीथिंग राइट. इफ somebody understands this company, I'm happy to learn from you guys. I'm always willing down to learn. So you guys can read up, because because I don't understand and I don't invest doesn't mean it is a bad sector, doesn't mean you people shouldn't do. So yeah, we all can learn from one another. आप ये भी चेक कर सकते हो. इस Q2FY26 में अगर मैं बात करूँ, दिस कृषाना फॉस्केम, थायरोकेयर टेक्नोलॉजीज, स्टैलियन फ्लोरोकेमिकल्स बोल के एक है, और क्या है, यश एसएमई वोल्टेज है, and then that another one company का मध्य भारत agro products. These are the few companies that has SG Finserv. These are the few companies in the last 4-5 days इसका result season में आप देख सकते हो, that has done really 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 well in terms of its numbers, has had a very positive and a bullish commentary also. So I understand Thyrocare ka model in depth, that is why I'm able to make a video on that. But you can also look into these other business models, and and dig deeper, and check how it goes. Okay, so that's that guys for today's video. I'll do another video, a second video talking about some other names. Okay, so that's that.